Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Infinity here. So, why am I wearing a hood hat thing? Because, well, for one, actually, my hair was really so fucked up that I just didn't want to fix it, so I decided to do this instead. And second off, today, I'm going to be talking about a childhood game that has been with me for almost a decade now. Pokemon. So, when I was a little kid, this is probably when I was in first, second grade probably, I went over to one of my mom's friends' house. Went downstairs, they had a basement and a TV where I could watch cable and stuff. We didn't have cable, so I hadn't watched TV before. I saw this show called Pokemon. Saw the first episode on that TV, and I was like, this is amazing. What is Pokemon? I don't know what this is, but this is amazing. And then I got into it, and I still had no idea what it was, but I started buying cards from the Walmart and Albertsons and stuff like that, and I still have a collection of them back in my closet, which I actually can't reach right now because I forgot that I moved my stuff somewhere. Anyway, so I started collecting these Pokemon cards, and the people around my street also collected Pokemon cards. So we would like trade cards and show each other what we have and show the awesome things that we have. One of them fucking took my Mew. Remember Pokemon the first movie? You got a Mew in the card, and it was like a rare Mew. Somebody was a fucking asshole. Took it and gave me a Voltorb. They also took my Poliwrath. Those assholes. Anyway, where was I going with this? My friend let me borrow his Pokemon game. It was on Pokemon Color. I believe it was Pokemon Blue. Yeah, it was Pokemon Blue, because he was having a tough time going through Victory Road, and he didn't know how to go through it, so he gave it to me, figuring I couldn't do that. I might as well play it since he's stuck on it. I got through Victory Road with his Blastoise and his team, and I took on the Elite Four and beat the game. And you gotta realize I knew how to play the game now. I knew how to move, how to heal my Pokemon, how to play the game, but I didn't know how to catch Pokemon. Then he asked for his game back, and I gave it back. So, for the record, I did in fact play the first game. Okay? Now, we go on to, I want to say 2002. 2002, I was in second grade. Went through that year. Pokemon Sapphire came out March of 2003, which is, I was still in second grade for, but I didn't know about it. My grandma and my mom bought it for me December of 2003. My first game, Pokemon Sapphire. This is the game that I've had for the longest amount of time. It is by far my most favorite game ever, and my most favorite generation ever, because this is the game that taught me everything about Pokemon, and the game that has been with me through all of the hard points in my life, and gave way to me meeting all of the people that I have met in my life, that have changed my life drastically. So, I started off the game. I had a Game Boy Advance, you know, the ones with the batteries, and I constantly played it. I could never get off it. Like, that December, all I did was play it. And a few months went by, I believe. And then I got pulled out of school because we were going to be moving. We moved to my cousin's house. Yes, the cousin from my other video, which I talked about, who beat me up every day, and that entire thing that happened through there. Anyway, I constantly play Pokemon Sapphire. This was what I did for my life. That entire few months that I was there, the most horrid months I've ever been through, that was what I did. I was there for probably, now that I'm thinking about the entire timeline of it, I was probably there for 3 or 4 months. And I was absent for so much of it because I hated my life there. I didn't want to be there, so I always pretended I was sick. I became a master at making it look like I was sick. I just didn't want to be there anymore. People made fun of how I looked. People made fun of everything. I got beat up. Oh my god, there's so many different things that happen there that I just hate. Anyway. Oh, what was I saying? Anyway, so, while I was there, all I did, again, was play Pokemon Sapphire. I remember, before I had moved to my cousin's house, I was playing Pokemon Sapphire, and my friend that lived across the street from me, also knew about Pokemon, and one time I got stuck. I got stuck right at the part where Kyogre appears, and you have to go and capture him. I was on that part for a good week, and that was the week that we had heavy rain going on in Idaho. Like, it was just like rain all that week. There was flooding, and it was not letting up at all. And then when I finally caught Kyogre, take a wild guess at what happened. Anyway, this is my Pokemon Sapphire. My person's name, of course, is Terry. I don't know if you can see this very well. Let me check. Oh god, you really can't. Well, my person's name is Terry. Playtime, 386 hours and 33 minutes. Pokedex, 288 Pokemon. 3 stars on the trainer card. First Hall of Fame, 121 hours and 6 minutes in. Link Cable Battles, 15 wins, 0 losses. Pokemon Trades, 163. Battle Tower, 105 win and 56 straight. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to my Hall of Fame. This was my first Hall of Fame. My first, I don't know if you can see this very well. That's my Swampert. That is my fucking Swampert. I need to restart the recording. Anyways, I was saying, that's my Swampert. Level 86. Now, it's a funny story about my Swampert. See, as I told you, I had absolutely no idea how to catch Pokemon when I first started the game. And when I first started the game, I didn't know that I had to fight my rival before I could, like, leave and head off to Petalburg. I didn't know about that. So, by the time I had finally figured that out, my little old Mudkip that I started off with was already a level 38 Swampert by the time I left. Now, that is a long time for me to be derping up. And I didn't know how to catch Pokemon throughout the entire game. all I used was Swampert. This girl kicks the most fucking ass you've ever known. And as you can see, like, I learned how to capture Pokemon at some point. Most of it was like after the Pseudopolis incident, in which I figured out how to catch Kyogre. And then I caught like a Golbat, a Wailord, Lairon, Loudred. And most of that stuff was when I was going through Victory Road. The Loudred, Lairon, and Golbat, that is. And then, after that, I went through the Elite Four again and again. This time I went through with Kyogre, Rayquaza, Camerupt, Salamence, and Skarmory. Then the third time, went through with just Swampert herself. I beat the shit out of everybody. Anyway, how much time do I have left? 4 minutes. I don't know if I can do this in 4 minutes. Anyway, I finally moved out of my cousin's house. Moved down here. Summer camp, all I did was play Pokemon Sapphire. And, like, I accidentally went swimming with it once. My Game Boy SP accidentally fell from a building. And my Sapphire survived all of that shit. And at this point, it was pretty much my best friend because it's the only thing that I had with me that made me feel better when all of this bad shit was going on around me. This was about the time that I was getting hit with, like, I got a concussion from dodgeball at the summer camp, and all that other stuff. And then, but it was okay later on because, at the place where my mom worked, there was this guy who played Pokemon as well, and he's the one who taught me a lot of stuff, and he gave me his white Game Boy Advance. I still have that. I haven't talked to him in a long time though, but he was awesome. He was awesome. He was like my teacher at Pokemon. Awesomest guy ever. Anyway, how much time do I have left again? 2 minutes, 31 seconds. Fuck. So, I entered into 5th grade. And actually, 4th grade. About halfway through the year, January 27th, I brought my Pokemon Emerald magazine to school, I believe. Nope. No, I don't think that was it. No, it was a magazine that had to do with Pokemon, but I don't think it was my Pokemon Emerald book. And I was reading it during art class because we had nothing to do. That's where I met a person that I deemed as my sister, because everybody's like, oh, you can't hang out with a girl. It's all weird. So I just called her my sister so nobody would think we were in a relationship. There we go. That's where I met her, and both loved Pokemon. And fuck, there's a drawing that we did together. I don't know where I put it, but it was a Zapdos shocking, like actually electrocuting this guy who always bullied me. We drew that together. And this is probably about to stop. I'll continue this in a second. Let me see. Oh, 1 minute left. Wow. Wow, okay, I can keep talking then. Anyway, so that's how I met her. And then I met this guy named Ivan. Wait, was it Ivan? Yvonne. The guy that, my friends bullied, but I don't know if it was bullying or if it was just being friends, because that's how my friends are. He played Pokemon a lot too, and I was his teacher at Pokemon and had to do things. Like, I had played Pokemon Sapphire for so long that while he was playing, I knew exactly where he was, the Pokemon that he was battling, the move that he used. It was bad. I was a real big Pokemon nerd, but it's understandable. It helped me through a lot of shit in my life. And now I'm actually going to restart the recording. Okay, so, where was I at? So, yeah, I was a really big Pokemon nerd. Because I knew all of this stuff about Pokemon, just because I played it for so long in my life. Like, then, actually, throughout the entire time that I was in here, like from 4th grade until around the middle of middle school, I was always grounded for the dumbest reasons ever. Like, oh, you forgot to take the dish out of the dishwasher, you're grounded, and that kind of stuff. And that made me very antisocial. Not like I didn't want to go out and hang out with everybody, but I was always inside. And because of that, I started listening to radio talk shows like 105.1, which had like the Russ Martin show and stuff like that. It also got me into video games like Kingdom Hearts. But most of the time I just had I had my Game Boy and it had a headphone plug-in, I believe, and I would just listen to me playing Pokemon and go around and battle and do whatever I wanted to. I also had a Game Boy Micro. That was pretty cool, but I think it broke. I wonder where it is now, though. Anyway, continuing on with the story. It is now 5th grade. My sister won't let me hang out with her anymore because her and her friends want to talk about girl stuff and I'm not a girl, so I can't hang out with them. It broke me a little bit, like I was really sad and stuff, but because of that I became friends with a loner that was also in my grade. His name, you might know him, his name was Elham. This kid, like, I don't know how, but he became my friend, and I was happy with him. He was fun, he was awesome. He didn't know, I don't think I really talked to him much about Pokemon. I just hung out with him because I couldn't hang out with Melissa, but we ended up being great friends anyway. So, fast forward to about probably a little bit through the 5th grade year. I meet this kid named Austin. You may know him as Cyrodiil, or Mar vs. Cap 25, I believe. Anyway, I met him, and together we made these things called AD cards, where I would draw like a person from class, and they would have like superpowers and stuff like that, and Austin came up with the idea himself. And that's what got me into the idea of making all these different versions of myself that all had different powers, because I really liked all these different types of powers that I really wanted. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just have a different person for every single thing of those things. And part of that was also with Pokemon, because like I would start a game, pretend that I was a different player, a player that specialized in a certain thing. Like I had an H2O kid, which started out with Blastoise, had a bunch of water type Pokemon. H2O kid eventually developed into Hydro Hurricane. That guy. You guys don't know who he is, but he's a character from a novel I'm working on that has control over water, obviously. And Austin set off the gears for that, so I thank you, my good sir. Anyway, later on, I don't remember how, but I brought a Pokemon Emerald book to school. Do I have it in here right now is the question. Yes, I do. Oh wait, nope, this isn't Pokemon Emerald's book that I had. Where is it though? I swear to God I had it somewhere. Huh. Well, fuck. I had a Pokemon Emerald book. I mean, it should be, like, right up here with all my other Pokemon books, but it's just not. It's just not. I don't know where it is. So, anyway, brought a Pokemon Emerald book to school. And I was reading through it, and through that, I met Carlos, also known as Tintachi. I was reading through it, and he was like, "Oh, what's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Pokemon Emerald." And he's like, "Oh my god, I have Pokemon Emerald. I love the game." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know everything about Pokemon and stuff." He tested me out, like my knowledge about it. I passed his examination, I guess. And he's like, "Do you think you could help me out with my game?" And I'm like, "Oh, sure, I just live right here." And he's like, "I live just right across the street from you." So, we began to hang out, and at first, he was actually using me just to know more about Pokemon. Like, he was just using my knowledge. He didn't actually care about who I was. But eventually he became my friend, and he's been pretty much by my side ever since then. And it's also how I met Tony, Asian Lee. He was just friends with Carlos and came with him whenever we were talking about Pokemon and stuff. However, I was still grounded, so most of the time I actually snuck them into my house. And this was where Carlos developed his moods of raiding my fridge. And I would always have to explain to my mom, "Oh, I was just really hungry today, something, whenever they came. Eventually they did meet my mom, though, and yeah. So, this is 5th grade year, and I became best of friends with them. And ever since then, Pokemon has just been a highway of awesome things for my life. Like, it started out just being a game, and then it developed into a way to block myself out from the outside world, so that, like, it ended up being something that could protect me from all the bullying and hatred that I received from the outside world. Then it developed into something that got me my first friends. And now, those friends are my best friends in the world. And now I must show you one Pokemon. One Pokemon that has been through my side throughout this entire time. This is Swampert. This is my Swampert. Quiet nature, Hoenn, arrived at level 100, often dozes off. Original trainer, Terry. I don't think you can see that, but that's what it says. Original trainer, Terry. Champion Ribbon. Tough Ribbon. Victory Ribbon. Snooze Ribbon. Sinnoh Champ Ribbon. And Effort Ribbon. This Pokemon has been through so much with me. I've had her for almost a decade now, and I still use her in battles. Can you imagine that? And I'm probably going to have to restart the recording here soon. 45 seconds. I'll just restart it now. So yeah, had this Pokemon, Swampert, for about a decade. I've used her in all of my battles. She, in all terms, is my partner Pokemon, and if I were to ever lose her, I would beat the shit out of whoever messed up my game. But yeah, this Pokemon got the ribbon. Got a ribbon for defeating the Hoenn League. Got a ribbon for being a Hoenn Tough Contest winner. Got a ribbon for clearing the Hoenn Battle Towers level 100 challenge. Got a ribbon for recalling Deep Slumber. That was something that happened in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. It's a ribbon that you get from there. Got a ribbon for defeating the Sinnoh champion. And got a ribbon for being an exceptionally hard worker, which she is. Like, I know it's weird to say that a Pokemon is just a huge part of my life, especially just saying that Swampert is, but she is. Like, she's been with me ever since the beginning. Almost a decade now. Almost a decade now. And God, so many things we've been through. So many things. And because of this Swampert and my Pokemon Sapphire, that led to me gaining all these great people. I don't even know how else I can go about saying that. That's just beyond awesome. And I still use that Swampert. I still use that Swampert today. I think I've told you guys about the Pokemon Club that I made. Well, the people at school that are in the club absolutely hate me every time I use my Swampert. Because my Swampert just doesn't lose. Like, I don't mean to be like, oh, my Swampert will win against everything, but, like, when I first started there, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really good at battling. I always love using my Swampert. So far, it's just unbeatable, because it just was unbeatable. Like, that's just how it was. And, one of the people there was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to train a team. I'm going to train a team to beat your Swampert. He trained his team. My Swampert took out the entire team in 6 turns. That kid was so shocked. And they were all level 100s. All of his Pokemon were level 100s, and he was just like... And the girl that was his friend that came in with him was like, you lost the entire game. You didn't even lose any health, and you just lost everything. And the kid's like, wait until next week. I'll kick your ass next week. He never kicked my ass. In fact, one time, it was me and my friend Barbara versus him and his friend. And the battle was going really slowly, and everybody's like, wow, this is boring. And I'm like, well, how about I spice it up a bit? And they're like, no, don't you dare do that. And I'm like, well, you guys said it's boring, so how about I just destroy all of your Pokemon right now? And they're like, don't you do it, don't you do it. And then, like, literally everybody started aiming their attacks at Swampert. Like, it was a Draco Meteor, I believe it was a Hydro Cannon, and a Hyper Beam, all aimed at my Swampert. Swampert was still alive, used Earthquake, everybody died. Actually, well, they didn't die, they just fainted. And I ended up being the last person alive, and I'm like, yeah, so, good battle, guys. And they're like, I hate you. And Alfredo was like, that's just a dick move. Carlos was like, that's a dick move too. I'm sorry, guys, I'm sorry, but I just love my Swampert. She's so awesome. I wish she existed, though. That would be awesome. Like, to actually have a Swampert, it's like this big, following me around everywhere. That would be so awesome. Anyway, yeah, I still use her even to today. I've been hesitant to transfer her over into Black and White because, like, originally when Diamond and Pearl came out and you were able to transfer Pokemon from your other games into there, I actually didn't end up transferring her into Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. I didn't transfer her to those until, like, Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out. And it was like a few months after they came out that I was finally like, okay, well, I think I'm just going to transfer them over now. And, yeah, that's what ended up happening. So, yeah, that's my story about Pokemon. Now, to talk about what Game Freak is doing. Well, I'm going to be getting Pokemon Black and White 2 when it comes out. And I may or may not do a playthrough of it on my channel. I haven't decided yet. However, if I do, I'll try and make it the best quality that I can. Like, I know I could make it so it zooms in on Swampert. Like, all I have to do is go like this, and then be like, oh shit, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. But usually when I do that, it autofocuses. I guess it just didn't this time, though. Anyway, I can make it autofocus on the game. I've done it before. I just probably need some practice at it. So, yeah, I'm going to be getting that when it comes out. I have no idea whether or not Pokemon, like, the people at Game Freak, I don't know if they're going to be making a remake to Pokemon Sapphire, Ruby, and Emerald. But if they do, I am totally buying that. Because that was my childhood. That was actually my childhood. And I've told you guys this now. That was actually my childhood. I loved the game so fucking much. And I'm going to play it again if they do that. And even though the Swampert isn't EV trained, isn't hacked in any sort of way, she still wins. She still wins. I say that's because there's some type of connection there. Even though you guys may say there's no such thing as a connection between something that is technological and something that is humane, I don't care. I want to say that there is some type of connection between me and that Swampert that makes it so that she wins every single battle. She went up against 4 grass types, took them all out with Blizzard, and every time they tried hitting, like, it was literally not working. It was like, missed, 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 and then Blizzard was 100% accuracy that entire battle. I'm telling you, that Swampert of mine is a special one. And I'm just saying that because she's been with me for all this time. That's fucking awesome. Anyway, I tip my hat to you, trainers out there. And I hope to see you guys later. Also, a quick update. YouTube just updated, and Dad Game took an hour to upload, so this is probably going to take a long time to upload. So I apologize in advance if this doesn't get out to you guys until, like, after midnight. I'm recording this probably, it's like 5 o'clock right now. And it's going to go straight into the computer, straight into upload mode, but I don't think it's going to, I think it's going to take a good few hours for it to finally finish uploading. Anyway, see you guys later. Thank you for listening to this. Swampert says bye too. Bye!